want to talk about change, and I want to give you a formula or a framework when it comes to change. Something that has worked in my life, something that I've applied in my life. If you were on my Instagram yesterday, I went in on it. So I'm not going to probably have the same energy because I'm not running right now. I was talking about change because the thing that I get a lot from everybody, for a lot of people, is like, how do I change? And listen, I don't have the formula as far as if you do these things, you're guaranteed for your life to change. But I do know that if you do these things, it will set your life up best, right, to help you change. You know, the thing that the main thing that I think that a lot of people don't understand is, first of all, that you're an incredible human being. No matter what you went through, you're not the mistakes that you went through. You're not your past. So many of us, we judge our life by our current reality. I was there at a point. And once I stopped looking at life and defining life by wins and losses, by defining life by this is bad, by defining life or this is going wrong, because I realized with my life, certain things have to go wrong so better things can go right in your life. And so when it comes to change, think about change like this, right? If we broke change down to three things, all right, the first thing is you cannot change without making a choice. And I see so many people in this place. I was in this place in my life. I wanted things to change, but I didn't want to make any changes, right? I wanted things to be different, but I didn't want to do anything different. And if you do the same thing, the definition of insanity, you're going to get the same type of results. That could be a positive thing if you're doing the positive things, but for a lot of us where we're at, that's not a positive thing. That's a negative thing, right? We're expecting something to change without making changes. So in saying that, one of the first things you have to do, the first thing you have to do when it comes to change is you have to make a choice. And you're not making a choice based on your circumstances. You're not making a choice based on your faith and the lack of faith, should I say. You're not making a choice based on what you think is going to happen, or you're not making a choice based upon your limitations. You're not making a choice based on any of that. You're making a choice and saying, you know what? In order for my life to look different, in order for my life to be different, I got to do something different. So I'm going to make a choice, whatever that choice is for you. Maybe it's a health thing. Maybe it's a faith thing. Maybe it's a relationship thing. Maybe it's a go for your dream thing. But the thing that I see most is nobody makes choices, right? Indecision is a decision in itself. Not making a choice is still making a choice. And when you don't make a choice, what happens is, like, it doesn't just go away. Life decides for you. And when life decides for you, life loves to give out hard times, right? Life loves to give out things that don't move you forward. And if you look at your life, sometimes, and like on the flip side though, sometimes we make bad choices, right? And when you make choices, there comes consequences. But I can tell you this, you cannot change without making a choice. So whatever it is in your life, right? Maybe it's saying, okay, I need to do more of this, or I need to let go of this. I need to get around these people. I need to get away from these people. I need to stop these habits. I need to build better habits with my life. Whatever it is, if you want your life to be different, you have to make a choice. All right, stop overthinking it. You got to say, listen, this bridge needs to be burned because there's certain things my life cannot afford to go back to. Make the choice. Oh, I need to start doing this because in order for me to get to where I think I should be, I have to make this choice in order to better my life, right? So number one is choice. And I'm trying to break this stuff down as elementary as I can put it. I tell this to my son all the time. Simple things, right? Number one is choice. But we all know that even if you make a choice is the first step to change, but choice alone doesn't create change, right? You can make a choice, good. A lot of people have made choices, but what happens is people don't do this next thing, right? You have to be committed to that choice, right? So after you make a choice, you have to be committed. And you guys know my definition of commitment. My definition of commitment is finding a reason, right? Why you have to stay committed to that choice. Like, does your life depend on it? Does your health depend on it? Like, what's going to be that real reason? When it came to rehab time, when I made my choice to start rehab time and to do what I'm doing now, my reason, as a lot of you know, was a promise that I made to my friend that committed suicide, right? So I deepened my commitment, right? A commitment, a lot of people have, it's a difference between being interested and committed. See, a lot of people are interested in their dreams, their visions, they're interested. Like, it sounds good. They like to talk about it. But when you have a commitment works, right, in inconvenience. Commitment works when everything isn't going right. Commitment works when the storms are still flooding your life and you still stay 10 toes down because you're committed to it. That's a real commitment. Okay, when everything is going against you, you still stay committed to the choice. That's a real commitment. And so you have to find a real reason why. Like, you got to put some skin in the game. What's going to be your reason? That deep reason. I'm not talking about a surface level reason. I'm talking about a deep rooted reason that's going to keep you committed to that choice. Because that's the second thing, commitment. Find your reason. The third thing in making this, because commitment is great, but if you are only committed, right, sometimes that's not enough. It'll give you an up and down type of life, right? Roller coaster type of life, as I like to call it. So after commitment, after you become committed to that choice, you have to be consistent in being committed to that choice, right? You have to build consistency. And this has been my thing lately. Like, this consistency thing is like changed my mindset so much in my own life, because I was asking myself, like, why I wasn't consistent in certain areas of my life, but I could be consistent in other areas of my life. And I even dove a little deeper, and tell me if this is true or not, that some of us are consistent at things that, for one, don't help our life. We're consistent at things that we don't even like to do. How many of you in here, and not everybody, I'm not saying working a 9 to 5 is bad at all, but how many of you in here are at a job that you hate, but you show up to it every single day? How many of you have school, right? Let's be real. Some people love school. I didn't love school. I mean, school taught me some things, but school was boring. Let's be real. High school, middle school, all that. But we showed up every single day. How many of you guys are consistent at something that you don't even like? And so when it comes to our vision, our dreams, when it comes to making change in our life, what's crazy to me is that we can't be consistent in the things that we say that we want. We can't be consistent in the things that we say that matter. We can't be consistent in fulfilling our purpose. We can't be consistent in fulfilling our vision. We can't be consistent in working towards our dreams. Some of us are more consistent at building someone else's dreams than we are with our own. And that makes absolutely no sense to me if you're a person that says, I want to live my dreams. Like I said, that sounds good, right? It sounds good. It looks good on paper. It looks good to talk about it. But let's be real. Some of us, we say all these things, but if I looked at your life, would you operate as if your life depended on it? Or would you operate that as like a hobby? There's a difference. There's a difference. That's what separates good from great. That's what separates great from legendary. It's what separates. It's what separates people. Like, a lot of people talk about it, live it, breathe it, be it, but few people do that. They LBB it. So let me ask you this question. Think about the things that your life depends on, right? Think about it. And so when we talk about consistency, the reason that you go to a job, and not saying everybody hates their job, by the way. I know some of you love your job. But the reason why some of you go to a job that you don't like, that you complain about, is because you know what will happen if you don't show up to that job. You know exactly what will happen, right? You'll get fired. You won't be able to pay your bills. And you picture in your head, like, if I don't show up to this job, then I'm going to lose my life. So your life depends on you showing up to a job. Same thing when we went to school. We know if we didn't go to school, we wouldn't graduate and all this other stuff, and we would be set back in life, right? That's what the world taught us. With our health, some of us will take care of our health once a doctor tells us that if you don't take care of your health, you're going to die. And so you become very consistent at it. Why? Because you know your life depends on it. So that's the key with consistency. Stop telling people you're not consistent. We don't want to hear that crap no more. I used to tell myself that stuff all the time. You're consistent, right? You're just not committed to certain things. Because if you can be consistent in certain areas of your life, you don't have a consistency problem. You have a commitment problem. Now, if you are not consistent in anything, then that's a whole other story. So the question I want to ask you is this. What if you started to operate your life like that thing, whatever that thing is for you, vision, dreams, whatever, depending on it? What if you started operating your life like that? And you start to feel the repercussions, because you know the repercussions if you don't show up to a job that you don't like. You know the repercussions if you don't show up to building someone else's dreams. What are the repercussions if you don't show up to building your own dreams? What's the repercussions if you don't end up meeting the greatest you? And the reason why it's hard to feel that is because a lot of us, we never have lived that. We never experienced life living our dreams out. We never experienced life being trying to become the best person we can become. I get it. And so me living it now, I can't imagine life without it. My life depends on it. That's why I'm super consistent with my health and the best health in my life right now. I'm super consistent with rehab time. Yeah, I'm not perfect, by the way, but I'm consistent because it changed my mindset when it came to that. So when we talk about change, right, you have to make a choice. You have to be committed to that choice. And you got to be consistent in being committed to that choice. Period. And that sounds very easy, but we all know the easiest things to do become the hardest things to do because we love to overthink. We love to make a lot of things complicated. And a lot of us aren't willing to take that journey because it's a journey. By making a choice and being committed, consistent, your change might not happen tomorrow. It might be 5 years from now. How many of you are willing to be that committed to it? I've been doing this since 2009 for 10 years. Why? Because I had a real reason, which is my commitment, and I decided to be consistent. That's it. I'm not the most consistent person because I'll tell you right now, consistency will always make up where talent lacks. If you want to say that. It will always make up for it. Consistency makes you a go-to person. The reason why 2,000 people are here right now is just consistency. That's it. That's it. It's just consistency. It's me showing up regardless, right? It's me operating as if my life depends on it because my life does. Like if I don't want to speak this to anybody, but if somebody you cared about was in a burning house, right? Say somebody you cared about was in a burning house. I pray that never happens. But somebody you cared about, say it's a dog or somebody, whatever, and you really care, you really love that person in there, more than likely, or just put in a dangerous situation, more than likely you would go in there no matter what obstacles stood in your way because you cared that much about that person, right? You cared that much about that thing. When are you going to start caring that much about your life? Because your life matters. Not just for yourself, but for the people who are influenced by your life. Some of us are consistent at being on social media every single day because of FOMO, the fear of missing out. You know what I fear missing out on? Being the greatest version of myself. That's what I fear. I fear going to my cemetery, right, with dreams, ideas buried with me. With my greatest version of myself buried with me. I never met that person. I fear dying with my dreams. I fear dying without being the greatest version of me. I refuse to waste my life not doing the things that I said I wanted to do. I refuse. I refuse to do it. And so what if you started to operate your life like that? What if you start to see life like that? As if tomorrow wasn't guaranteed, because it's not. And I get it. Some of us, we like to be comfortable. But y'all heard me say this for the last 5 years, man. I would rather go through uncomfortable, temporary uncomfortableness than stay in a permanent uncomfortableness, right? I don't know if that's a word, but I made it up. By staying in some permanent that I know is not going to change because it's comfortable. Yeah, running and working and expanding yourself and trying to create new limits in your life, it isn't convenient. It isn't comfortable. It isn't easy. But I realize in order to get what most don't have, you have to do what most don't do. And I already told y'all this since 2009. Success ain't hard. It's not. Really, is that formula I just told you. It's not hard. What's hard is the journey of continuing to show up regardless. That's what's hard. Continue to better your life, not online, but offline. That's what's hard. And I know every time I start talking about accountability and I start talking about responsibility, hence it all starts with you. We start talking about things like this, people start to drop off all the time. It happens all the time. And I always say this because I start to see it. But people want inspiration. That's what they want. They just want inspiration. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want the ball in their court. They want to pass the ball. Forget that. I want the ball in my court. If I can do something about my life, I want to be able to do it. You're depending on other people to do something for you. Ain't nobody going to do nothing for your life. Don't nobody care about your dreams like that. When you going to realize that? Ain't nobody going to give you the opportunity. They're not. All right? They're not. 1 out of a million going to get a lucky opportunity. Work your way to the top. Commit your way to the top. Be consistent. Make a choice. Ain't nobody going to give it for you. And the reason I can say this because ain't nobody gave it to me. 2009 started from the bottom. Then nobody give me no stage and nobody give me no handouts, shout outs, none of that. People told me that I should change who I was. But I kept showing up regardless. And I had a vision so big that I knew other people wouldn't see it. And all I had to do was work, have faith, be consistent, be committed, be disciplined, have that championship mindset. All I had to do was have that championship mindset until my reality met my vision. That's it. Just close the gap. And every single day you show up, every single day you work, every single day you're committed, every single day you make a choice, every single day you're conscious and intentional about moving forward with your life, you close the gap from your vision and your reality. You close the gap. That's all it's about. It's about closing the gap. And I want to come here because it's been on my heart. And it's something that I get a lot of people ask me about, like, how do I create change? And again, change is simple. But it doesn't happen overnight, but overnight everything can change. If you want to create change in your life, number one, make a choice. All right, nothing happens without making a choice, but a choice isn't enough. The second thing you have to do is be committed. You got to find a reason why you're not going to give up on that choice. It has to be something that's real for you. Maybe it's for your kids. Maybe it's for, future generations. Maybe it's for whatever. I don't know. That's on you. Third thing is consistency. Because consistency is what allows the seed that you planted, right? It allows the seed that you planted to blossom. Because without consistency, it's not going to blossom, right? You can do all the right things tonight and tomorrow your life is going to look the same. But if you continue to do all the right things day after day after day after day, eventually change will show up, right? You look at yourself in the mirror, you'll be like, dang, like, how did this happen? You hit your tipping point because you really put in the work in the journey. This is life, right? We can make excuses. We can say, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time. This or that. Cool. But just understand, don't complain about the things you're not willing to change. All that stuff might be valid and true. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You only get one of these. You only get one. I'll talk to you guys over the weekend, hopefully. And you guys have a great night. Remember, it all starts with you. Live it, breathe it, be it. This sweatshirt, because I know a lot of y'all wondering, will be available very, very soon. All right? Let's get it.